Hello and welcome to ThePrint. This is Fariha Iftikhar and today we have with us Director of IIT-Madras V Kamakoti sir. The central government has today announced the NIRF 2024 rankings, and this time again, for the sixth time in a row, IIT-Madras has emerged as the top institution. Welcome to ThePrint, sir.
Hello.
So we'd like to first know what has worked for IIT Madras for like so many years. It continued to be the topmost institution in NIRF.
So this is a ninth consecutive year where we are in the top. Uh, one of the things that we have realized that this is a very collective effort. This involves every staff member, every right from housekeeping staff to the director. Everybody needs to put in their best for us to progress to this level. And that is what we have realized. And that is what has kept IIT Madras. We are a very, very cohesive family. We are a very flat structure and a lot of freedom and a lot of focus. Both are very, very, present in the institute. And that has, and this focus has basically enabled us to reach this level.
So if we talk about the parameters of NIRF,
Yes.
like what is the institute doing? Like to be on the top, it is across the parameters.
So, unlike other ranking systems in the world, NIRF basically captures things that the institute needs to do for the country. Being in higher education institution, publicly funded higher education institution, we have certain very important social responsibilities, and that is precisely what the NIRF ranking framework basically captures. So if you look at right from the research, the general things like citation, etc., but also we look at gender equality. This time we have brought in the NEP components, online education, accessible education, how much affordability that we have brought, uh, how we have made the education affordable. So several different parameters rather than just the citations and perceptions, etc., are now into this system. And so essentially, when you want to reach the top, you basically have to concentrate on each one of these parameters. And each one of these parameters, you start concentrating and try to improve. Essentially, the outreach of the institute improves, and also we become much more relevant to the society.
Absolutely. Sir, overall, how do you think ranking system helps education institutions?
Ranking system is something like an end semester examination, right? You study a topic. How do you know that you have understood the topic well? What is some parameter based on which you can be evaluated and say, okay, you've done well, or you've understood it well, very well, average, poor, right?
Yeah.
So this side of an audit. So what is an examination? Examination is actually an audit, correct? And we are basically, this ranking is actually an audit for us. We are actually submitting data even in chartered accountant terminology. It's an audit because we are submitting data.
So then, what is not helping Indian institutions in QS World Rankings? Why
I
we
would
are
like to talk about it later because the the focus of NIRF, as I told you earlier, I also mentioned, unlike other ranking mechanisms, is to capture the need, the objective of an education institution in the country. This focus, so what we are expected to do in India versus what happens in the other part of the world is different. So there are certain things that we need to do. We are a largest democracy. We have the youngest population. We have 1.4 billion people. We have more than, as the Honorable Minister mentioned, we have crores of candidates who are coming here. Our GER today is around 27%, right? We need to improve to 50%. So there are many things that we need to do. And
Yeah.
these are, and so the two things that we are now talking of, should I now concentrate on these things or should I go behind the ranking mechanism? NIRF allows you to concentrate on these things and recognizes these things. So putting it on a global framework is where we are going a little behind the other institutions because commitment I have as an institution in India versus the commitment some other institute has in some other part of the world are different. Now we are trying to compare apple versus oranges in that sense. Nevertheless, an international ranking also helps us in understanding some where we stand across the world. For example, sustainability, which QSS introduced, is a very good one. So we actually understood we were some 600 rank last but 1 year. Last year we came to something like 200 plus in sustainability alone. That almost 50% improvement. We actually found out what is sustainability ranking, and when we started looking at the parameters, we found that we were doing so many things, but we are not consolidating it, and that consolidation actually led to our improvement of the focus of our school of sustainability. So these are the real benefits, both international ranking and national ranking.
And sustainability is going to be a parameter in NIRF
yes,
also now.
So we are very much welcoming that, and it must be, because I'm a computer science professor, but I will very deterministically tell you that in the next 10 years, coding job will be superseded by recycling jobs.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that trend there.
So moving away from the NIRF and ranking things, sir, IIT Madras has started its Zanzibar campus, the first offshore campus.
Yes.
So how's the progress? How?
It's going very well. We have now the second batch admission is going on. The first batch we just started within 3 months. The entire campus. Zanzibar government is really supporting us very deeply, and also.
How many students were enrolled in the first batch?
First year it was 50. This year we aspire to admit another 50 to 70 students.
Okay.
So within the next 4 years, we will touch around 500 students.
Okay.
And then it will go. So in 10 years, we will have around 2,000, 3,000 students. Like 2,000 to 3,000 students. We are also committing for 5 programs in the next 5 years. We have already 3 programs now. We have an MTech in ocean structure, MTech in data science and AI, and BS in data science and AI. We will continue to have some 2 more programs, so 5 programs, and around 250 students per year admission is what would be stable state for it.
So there were also a discussion of another offshore campus in Sri Lanka. Is there any progress in that regard?
No, it is still, we are just looking into it.
Okay. So we would like to also know your opinion on sir, what should be done right now in the present context to improve the entrance exam system in the country, in the backdrop of whatever has happened around the NEET UG entrance this time.
See, we have to select, say, IITs have to select 16,000 students from 1.5 million aspirants. So there is nothing else that we can do in a fair manner other than an entrance examination. So entrance examination has to be there. And the entrance examination has to also be an examination of elimination, because, the number we select is much lesser than the number we eliminate, right? So it has to be, because otherwise admission is not possible. We have some limited number of seats. So that is where, this bell distribution, where we only look at a very thin tail, is very, very important. And that is why entrance examinations are important. It will stay, because, to select between 1.5 million to 20,000, how do I cut? How do I basically say? There must be a fair mechanism. So that we are doing. So that's one, and we have been conducting JEE Advanced for time immemorial. So 6 decades we have been conducting.
And so what do you prefer, like pen and paper mode or online mode?
Pen and paper is ideal, because that basically tells us whether the person has understood and got the answer, versus what we call as, in Indian philosophy, we call Neti philosophy. So describe ultimate reality, say this is not ultimate reality, that is not ultimate reality, that's not, so something else is, it's called Neti philosophy, like that. A, B, C, D choices are given. B is wrong, C is wrong, D is wrong, so A is correct. Versus now you deriving A. In a pen and paper, you derive A because you don't know what the answer is. In here, I am given a set of 4 answers. It's now I have to eliminate the bad ones and wrong ones. So we still prefer pen and paper, but pen and paper is not scalable, right? 2.5 lakh. I have only 25 days to announce the result. I have to take the admissions. So there is though we prefer pen and paper, because that will also, see, somebody does all these things. Finally, instead of -2, he puts +2, and both options are there. He loses -1 mark. Totally -5 in the whole run. So that is also something, bad for the student.
Challenges there.
Bad also, because in the pen and paper, we would have given step scaling mark because you need to, how many papers you can correct. So this is the real
So
situation.
large number of IT students and even in other engineering colleges are going for like modern age engineering courses and not the core engineering courses. You have been very vocal about it as well, like this topic. So what do you think is the repercussion of this trend on the
No, don't
job
well,
market
yeah.
and the
No, slowly core engineering is coming up very well. Now there are people now continuing in core, and for example, Krishna Chevukula, who completed his MTech at IIT Madras in 1970, so he was 2 years old at the time. He is continued aerospace. He did aerospace, continued in aerospace. Today, he is in a position to give a donation of 228 crores. So this is one motivation I've been telling the kids. Really, if you want to be prosperous, it doesn't come from switching from one job to another. If you stay in your core, then you get better
so
prospects.
the
So the intention for the kids to continue in core is slowly increasing now, because they also find that there is a lot more interest.
is there an upward trend there?
It's important, and I see in next 4 5 years there will be a good trend in this, because sustainability itself, every core job has a sustainable component, and that will drive. So sustainability is now going to be a magnet that's going to keep people on the on their own core discipline and continue.
Sir, a lot of students from IITs and engineering institutions are going for civil services also. This is also a trend which is very much in topic. What do you think? Why
It is
it is?
very, very important, because today administration is now becoming more and more technical. Court cases are also being run on data, correct? So you need to do data analytics is very important. So it is that engineering bend of mind is very, very important, right? So it is becoming like for many, many jobs, right? So and so I'm very happy that a lot of IIT graduates, IIT Delhi leads that show in my
Yeah.
opinion, but IIT Madras also, now I have got a list of more than 500 600 people over a period of time have been in civil services now, so, and continue to be, and also motivate these kids to go into civil services, because they will contribute and say, so I want to put a massive power grid for a state, right? I need a high voltage engineer who can be an IAS officer, then it will be good for them. So they'll understand what should
Good
be
for
done.
bureaucracy, you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, and so understand what the difficulty, will not give unrealistic estimates. Right? We don't know. If you ask me to set up a big PowerPoint, I don't know. Even if you ask me to blabber, I don't know what to blabber. Okay, so 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 that way, our IIT fellows joining civil services, we welcome, and we are seeing many people in that.
Lastly, sir, IIT Madras has taken various steps to create a happy environment at the campus to help students cope with that stress. So, sir, would you like to share something about it?
Yeah, we were having a very bad time just immediately after COVID. When I took over as director, a few months after I took over as director, in a matter of 6 months, we had 5 suicides, and that really was the big eye opener for us. We, we went and did a thorough understanding of the mental health. We conducted surveys, and after that, we introduced. You can see more details at behappy.iitm.ac.in. We opened a site there, and then lot of efforts were put from there. And now the point is that we are really finding that students are coming out, and they are ready to converse. This is very, very important. And personal problems will be there, and we need to look at personal problems, and we need to come out with, they need to come out with solution. They need to have the strength to face personal problems. Many times these type of bad decisions are not just taken just because of you know uh, just because of an academic stress.
And lack of
And
support,
yeah,
probably.
yeah, lack of support, or it can also be due to personal issues. And you know how to tackle these personal problems. We are now, these initiatives are really helping, really helping. And so we have elaborate. No, I can talk about it for hours, but we have certain elaborate things in place now. And hopefully, our, our, our campus, we aspire to make it as stress-free campus as possible.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir,
Yeah.
and we congratulate you once again on behalf of ThePrint.
Sure.
Thank you.